Hello, thank you so much for continuing on this learning journey about the Lumina Splash and the Lumina Spark psychometric assessment. So for those of you who are interested in more, I have a little bit more information about the instrument to share with you, and I have a brochure. So I'm going to give you some information from the brochure, but if you would like to actually have a copy of it for yourself that you can have on your own computer for future reference, I can definitely make that available to you. So I'm going to share some slides with you that I prepared to show you a little bit more about the instrument. So I'm going to go share screen. So this is something, what you would see in our brochure. So we explain a little bit about how Lumina works. So it's a 38-page PDF that you get. It's a full color PDF, and it shows the information in many different ways. So you have the splash, which is what we covered in the earlier videos, and that's what you get as part of the app. And you also get information like you see on the other side of the screen here, this tag cloud, and it's basically the same information that you see on the splash. It's just presented in a different way. So this individual, their most prominent qualities are the ones that are the most obvious on the page, the biggest, boldest letters. And as the qualities are less used, they go more to the outskirts of the tag cloud. So you see this person, their most prominent aspect is discipline driven. However, inspiration, maybe down to earth, are not so prominent in their aspects, and you see that reflected in the same information over here on the other side with the splash. And so we're looking at the 24 human qualities. We show the information in many different ways in the report, so that way it really sinks in. It appeals to the left side of the brain, it appeals to the right side of the brain. It appeals to people who like visuals, like the splash and the tag cloud. And I'll show you in just a minute how we also have some graphs that we use. So what we're looking at in the Lumina, and this is what you'll see in your report, is you get to see 3 layers of your persona. So as we talked about in earlier videos, we're looking at the 4 archetypes. So this is what we see here: the conscientious, the commanding, the empowering, and the inspiring. So this are the 4 archetypes. Then we extract out 8 aspects from that, which is what we saw on the previous here. These descriptions that are around the outside of the mandala: inspiration driven, big picture thinking, extroverted, outcome focused, discipline driven, down to earth, introverted, and people focused. So those are the 8 aspects of the personality, and then we go deeper into the 24 qualities of the personality. So these are here, what you see in these bar graphs. These are the archetypes, and what you see, there's 3 sets of graphs. That's all the same person. So we extract the underlying persona. So the definition is here. This is you at your most natural self. This is the persona that motivates you, and this is the persona that not everybody sees about you. So that's the underlying persona. And over here on the top bar graph, you see the person's underlying persona in a graph form. The next layer down is the everyday persona. So this is how a person tends to behave. This is an indication of how people see you in the environment that you're in. And this is how you consciously adapt to behave appropriately for the environment, the circumstance, the occasion, and so on. So you see here, this person in their everyday uses a lot more of their inspiration-driven archetype. The commanding red is still in 2nd place. The empowering architect is in 3rd place, and the conscientious is now in 4th place. But in most cases, this person has reined in their aspects to suit the day-to-day. So it's not to say that they don't have all of these qualities inside of them. They do. They just know how to regulate them so it's appropriate for their workday. The 3rd persona we look at, and this is absolutely fascinating, is the overextended persona. So this is how one appears when they're stressed out, when they're exhausted, overwhelmed, overworked, in a rush, angry, hungry, grieving, not feeling well. So all of the things that put us off our best selves. So this is when a person will tend to overuse their strengths and their qualities just to get to the end of whatever it is that they're trying to achieve. This is what can appear as a weakness or a fault. But what we know at Lumina, we know how to explain to you and to your colleagues is when you're overusing a strength, how do you take the journey to composure so that your strengths and your qualities don't come across as weaknesses? So this is really powerful stuff, and people absolutely love it. And it does a great service to stress management and another great service to conflict management and resolution. Very powerful stuff. So diving deeper into what you will see in your report, these are 2 samples. They're each, it's 2 pages from the inside of the report. One of them is showing you how the qualities show up. So what is the definition of those 24 qualities that we have? They are presented, I'm just looking at the everyday qualities here. They're presented as opposites. So you see on the column with the green, intimate, compared to the column with the red, takes charge. So those would be considered opposites, but it shows you how you would have a paradox in your personality, and it shows you how you balance off these opposite qualities. So you see this person has them all, she just uses them to a different degree. And this is what we explain to you in your debrief. On the other page, we see the overextended qualities. So what happens to those strengths and those qualities when the person becomes overextended, like I explained in the last slide? So intimate becomes passive, accommodating becomes acquiescing, collaborative becomes obsessed by consensus, and so on. And what we want to see here, so this person has a lot of little tiny bubbles, which is great. That means that the person does not get into the grip of the overextension. Their qualities don't become faults in a great degree. We do see an example here for this individual. They're reliable, their quality, that strength of reliability in an overextension appears as being hesitant. You see how long that bar is? She's in the 99th percentile of shifting from reliability to hesitant. So that's kind of like when a person is overwhelmed, stressed, exhausted, tired, hungry, they appear to go into, fight, flight, or freeze mode all at once. So the person who's usually so reliable with their information and their commitments all of a sudden appears to be one that's maybe not answering the questions just like this, maybe not making a commitment or agreeing to follow through or taking on a responsibility. So it's not that this person is putting you off. It's not this person is withholding information from you. It's that she is overextended. You see, so as her leader, as her manager, instead of pushing her harder, what you would do is you would help her take the journey to composure. You would help her rein in her overextension and then go back into the capacity for using her very good quality of being reliable. So this is so powerful. I'm sure you can see right now what incredible impact that this can have within your culture when your employees know how to use their qualities and they know how to flex their qualities and they know how to understand what's going on inside of them. What we also show you in your PDF report is the mirrored self and the opposite self, and how do you deal with that? So obviously the mirrored self is the character that's a lot like yourself, and it gives you a lot of information, a lot of guidance on how to be aware of your mirrored self and how to avoid the blind spots that come with working with somebody who's just like you, and how to leverage the opportunities and the power of working with somebody who's just like you. There's also guidance on how to work with your opposite self. So how do you work with somebody who's very different from you, who has a different approach to things, who has a different way of seeing the world or tackling problems? Now, normally, working with your psychological opposite could cause conflict, but thanks to this instrument, you can see how it can cause harmony and bring about the opportunity to fill in the blanks so that the project or the workday is handled in such a way that all of the strengths and all of the qualities are incorporated into the way of getting work done. So another fascinating and exciting piece that we can provide for you is what we call the team wheel. And what this is each one of these little buttons that you see in these circles represents a person on the team. And you probably can't see it because it's too small, but they all have the initials. And there's more pages, there's more information. This goes deeper so that you really know, who's who and where everybody's showing up. But this shows you what your team looks like, if your team were an individual, this is what's happening to the team when they're in their everyday persona, when they're in their underlying persona, and when they're in an overextended persona. So it gives team leaders fantastic insight on how the qualities change, how they show up differently when different things are happening in the organization. So if you're going through a very stressful time, very busy time, perhaps a merger and acquisition, a major change, you might find your team members gravitating into their overextended personas, and it changes the dynamic on the team. So as a leader, you can see how important that is to be able to anticipate and to be able to work through that period with them, knowing that this is what happens to the team dynamic. So that is just a peek inside this incredible instrument. I have a license to work with a few instruments, and this is by far my favorite. This is the one that I use in my practice. This can come into your organization as well. If you're interested in knowing more, please book a call with me. You can find my contact details at my website, which is CoreyRobertson.com. Go to my resources page where you'll find my scheduling app, or you can go directly to my scheduling app, which is talkwithcorey.com. You're welcome to send me an email. Again, Corey@CoreyRobertson.com. Super easy. And I would love to talk to you. This may be the instrument for you. It may not be, but I will help you figure that out. So thank you for listening to this demonstration. Thank you for checking this out. And like I said, please feel welcome to reach out to me to talk about this in more detail. Have a wonderful day.